the question I had is that uh, so when you say put the attention on the I am,
Yeah.
like it's more about you. I'm asking a question about you. Like when you share these sessions, you are able to convey that experience of being. Like you can sort of, it resonates, as you say. So in doing that, do you like just put your attention on I am and let the words emerge? Or do you like hear it in the I am region? Or do you like look in the realm of the mind for something? Maybe not that. But it's where like what is happening then when, because even that has a narrative sort of, when you were saying, for instance, that be kind, be kind, be kind, that is a narrative that runs. In describing that itself, you're also using a narrative.
Sorry, be kind.
So what I'm trying to say is, sorry.
When did I say? What did you say? I said be kind.
Oh, you were saying what happens is that most people live in this narrative, and then it's like running in the head. Be kind, be kind, be kind. So I'm just saying that the words that you use also have a narrative, but they have something different about them.
Yeah, totally.
So it's like,
and any answer I give you.
So what is happening there?
What's happening here? But any narrative that I give you is just a narrative, and it's like more than likely whatever understanding you take or someone else takes will be really different from what is meant here, because it's just words, and my association to words is different to somebody else's association to words. So it's really hard to communicate. So what I do when I speak is it's the same as when I'm like creating art as well. It's just like I just kind of let it come out with not too much thought. The only time that I might think about things is when I'm helping someone out on something psychological. So I might use my memory of like the psychological therapies that I know. So a memory of different practices or things that I know. And then the rest of the time it's just kind of like I just feel a lot of love. And just like, it's not like I let that love speak, but I just like let the energy here speak. But I feel lots of love, and I feel very expanded when I'm speaking. But I feel expanded the other time. I do sometimes practice the I am practice, because I find it helps me not get too involved in other people's energies. That's weird, but it's like when I'm presented with someone, I feel like I really go inside of them, and really like my energy goes into anything that's around me. It's like very expanded. And then practicing the I am practice helps me to not do that, because it's not always appropriate to do that. Like sometimes people don't want you nosing in their energy, and sometimes they've got very difficult energy or angry energy, and it's best just to keep out. So I practice like putting the energy on the body. I know that sounds weird because it's like the opposite of what you'd think, but I'm trying to stay in Lisa's body rather than going out into everything else. But yeah.
So it's like many things. It's not like anything in particular. It's like you don't bother too much about how it happens. It's like speaking anywhere, speaking here, it's the same speaking.
Yeah, and if I'm having like a big emotion come up or something like that, then I try not to do talks when that's happening. So that doesn't happen that much. But if I'm having like an energetic emotion or something coming up that's quite difficult, then I try to refrain from doing talks, because I feel like that we're all kind of sharing energy. So I try to talk when my energy is like quite loving and free and expanded. Luckily, it doesn't happen too much. So, but it can happen, especially if I'm giving lots of talks and I'm exhausting myself or something like that, which can happen.
So it's like there's nothing I can do to emulate that, or maybe I'm not even saying that's something I want to do, but it's like, I mean, whenever it's non-duality, I don't know what I'm asking advice for. Like something you like.
Well, my advice to you would be
like, how can I do this better? Yeah,
better.
How can I do this better? That advice thing.
Yeah, my advice would be to keep putting your attention in the I am, or if you find consciousness easier. That never used to work for me. I used to find that confusing, but the I am really worked for me. So put your attention in the I am, and when you're having strong emotions, learn techniques in order to embody them and release them and understand them. And there's loads of techniques out there on the internet.
Okay.
So those are the two things that I really recommend. And then also presenting yourself to the subject, and really see that there isn't actually someone that's doing that, but there can be a recommendation from Lisa and there can be a doing of that, but that isn't actually an independent entity that's doing these practices. That's all mind-made. We're just here, but that doesn't preclude doing that practice. And you'll notice a profound difference if you write it on your hand. You keep putting your attention back in this, like the freedom is here. The freedom is in this moment. The problem for the human is the identification with time and living in time rather than living here. That's what the problem is that we're in this time-bound, horizontal, linear reality, and that's where most people live all the time, is in this kind of thoughtscape, rather than right here, like what's happening here, like the feeling of the bum on the seat, the vibrating of the computer. You maybe can't hear that, but my computer's like, the warmth of it, the light, the room, the sensation of the sights in the room, the wall, the floor, the carpet, like what's actually happening here. And the reason that people don't stay here is because this was painful. There was a pain that arose in this, and then you began to escape the pain of what is by narrating a story in the past and future. So you felt a pain, maybe your mom told you off or your dad told you off, and then you started narrating how you would do something better when you were an adult, and that made you feel better. Your narration gave you certain feelings, you felt better, and you began to live more and more in narration of what is rather than what is.
A related question to this is would you say you follow these 3 suggestions yourself, or would you say you don't have a requirement for any of these? I mean, in the sense, for any practice, would you say you don't have a requirement for any practice, or would you say you also follow these?
I followed them more prior to the awakening. So those were the things that I did. Was I had a teacher that I kept listening to this message again, Roger Castillo. I had also other teachers I listened to, but he was my main one. And then I practiced the I am teaching, and I practiced emotional release and embodiment. So that's embodiment. So those are the 3 practices I practiced before. And in the beginning, when I started practicing them, it was like I really wanted to get enlightened. And then as time went on, it was like I was just okay with being happy. I was just okay with life being easier. And then this shift happened, and I would say that I still do these practices, but I don't do these practices with a goal of getting anywhere. So if I have an intense emotion, I do an emotional release. And if I'm in social situations, I try to practice putting my attention on the I am, so I'm not going into other people's energies all the time.
Got it.
But it's not on this idea like I want to get somewhere, because there is nowhere to get. There's just here. There's just here all the time. It's free. It's totally wiped clean of everything that's ever happened.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you so much. How do you say your name again? I think we've spoken before.